Yeah. That was my first bike.
You learned how to ride on that
The folding Google bike.
Oh, it's folding. I was saying, why does it look so weird?
Yeah.
That's cool. I like it.
Well, everything Google is weird.
I'm a big Android guy.
Big Android guy?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
never owned an iPhone.
Wow.
My
Green
brother
message
is
guy.
the.
This is a perfect way to start. by
Yeah,
the way.
he's the head Geek Squad guy. So
Really?
you go back to like 2008. They made like the original droid. We call in our family refer to as the OG droid.
Mm-hmm.
We love that thing, bro. Yeah, bro, we're big droid.
Whoa,
guys.
Dude,
yeah.
that's
That
like
you-
your
yeah.
deity.
He just
Yeah.
prayed to the Google
You know,
squad.
it's like you have to, bro. OG droid
Wow.
carried us through some crazy times.
All right, so what phone do you have right now?
I'm on Pixel 5, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
big.
He is
so
really
any
Google.
text from me is green circles, and it's so funny in business that I've actually considered getting an iPhone because if I send text to some people, they're like, "Fuck you," and I
Yeah.
know exactly what it is.
Well, they don't know if it's you don't know if it's getting delivered or not, right?
I don't care.
You don't care.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, I
Well,
don't care that much.
like
yeah,
it.
yeah. You
Joe
care when
doesn't
I
care.
text you. Yeah, you respond to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
did you get my message? You don't know. With
I
the
don't
Google?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Love Android in our house.
Wow.
Well, I turn off the red receipts anyway.
No, I turn them off
Do
too, but
you?
it still says delivered. Like,
It does say delivered.
so you know
Yeah.
it went to the
But I don't
person.
want people to know when I open
Other
their messages.
Android
Are
people.
mine on?
I see other
don't-
Android
know.
people's texts get delivered. So
My red receipts might be on. Are my red receipts on?
We can check.
what do you got to hide?
You don't have to hide anything. It's more just sometimes I open messages and then I'll
man.
mark them unopened so that I could know to go back to it.
Yeah,
later.
yeah, that's a big problem.
Like I have a bunch of unopened messages of like people
pinning
that I have
pinning
to
the
answer.
texts definitely comes
What?
in clutch.
Okay, perfect. So they're not on.
Yeah, there's no. It doesn't say red.
All right,
You will
cool.
not get that from me, and you never will get that from me.
'Cause
And
you're a
then
Google
it's
guy.
it's become such a part of our personality.
Yeah.
And my favorite fights I have with some people is that they hate the
I
fact
get
that
it.
I have an Android.
I
Well,
get it.
I don't hate people that have Androids. I just want to put that out there publicly.
Yeah.
I love
But-
Android people.
But I do
You want
hate.
to round up the Android people.
I do hate having a group message that the Android person ruins.
That's where I get the most slack.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it too because like for some reason the phones don't talk to each other. So like it'll be a group chat with like 4 people, and then for some reason when I reply, I'd only reply to like 3 of them, and then I'll have like 6 group chats going.
Yeah.
So I get left out. I have to converse with my friends between Instagram DM group chats and Snapchat.
Right.
Yeah, big
And
which I
that-
like Snapchat better.
that hustle's worth it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see how rehearsed
Your
this is,
yeah,
bro?
dude, your
Like, this
hustle.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it. We love Big Google. big
Google.
OG droid.
Big Google
Big
family.
Google. We love Google. Yeah. I'm very, very influenced by
It's
my
like big pharma.
But yeah.
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 Big
Well, it
Google.
pretty much is.
We're
Yeah.
into
It's a
big
drug.
Google.
Yeah. Using Google and infuriating iPhonies.
Something's occurred to me. I think because the technology exists to make those two operating
Communicate,
systems
yeah.
talk to each other. So we need to not be angry at Android people. We need to be angry at Google and Apple for not
They're
coming together.
They've made it
unifying.
divisive. You know, they've done that to make us hate each other when we should love each other. But it's fun. So yeah, I love Android, and that's it. I'm gonna.
And that's
Thanks for
fine.
coming on the show, Joe.
But no, I think we could segue into,
Yeah.
where how I become the person I am.
I'm the host.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Are
fun.
you hosting?
Yeah,
now?
are you the host?
I'll talk, and you listen.
Ask yourself a question.
So Joe, no. All right,
are
Steve,
you?
kick it off.
So Joe, we're here with Joe Villani, owner of Sturdy Home Inspections and a new company that doesn't have a name yet.
So I have Sturdy Homes Corp, which does energy efficiency work and new construction work. And then the third thing with the website is easyloadcalcs.com. I'm trying to kind of separate the two. So
Right.
it's all really, really boring, nerdy engineering kind of work in the new construction space that is a really, really small market share, but there's a ton of work. Like there's not a lot of people who do it, but there's a huge demand for it. So I'm getting into it. But it's super boring to talk about. It's so
let's go
nerdy
into
stuff.
it.
Yeah, let's go.
Can you break down the 3 of those companies?
So Sturdy
Which
Home Inspections
each of them do?
that's what got me into being, working for myself. It's a typical home inspection company. When you go to buy a house, you call a licensed home inspector to go and take a look at it, tell you what's going on in the house. So that was the first thing that I did for myself. I started that in 2017, and I've been doing it ever since. Last year, I decided to expand into that it's a weird field because there's, like I said, not a lot of people in it. So we don't even know what to call it. So the actual work I do is called a HERS rating, which is an energy efficiency thing for new construction. So I started that. And with that, I had to make the new company, which is Sturdy Homes Corp, because I love the whole the sturdy brand, the sturdy thing. And, with that, I do the engineering kind of work. So, and while also doing the home inspections. So yeah, I I kind of wanted to start actually having a business instead of just working for myself. So that's where the past year, all my efforts have been into creating something that I can hire other people to do, because the home inspections it just isn't that. People trust me. They want to hire me. They see my face. They want me to show up. And I realize that I do like that. So I want to service a smaller amount of people, give them really high quality work, but that doesn't allow me to run a business. So that's why I'm kind of doing multiple things at the same time. So, I can actually have a little bit of freedom and, take some vacation and not have to work every day. So the typical, entrepreneurial struggle that we all run into. But
I totally get that. So the home inspection business, you did that until what year? And then all of a sudden you were like, okay, I gotta add something to this, the HERS project.
It was this time last year, actually. So we're in 23. So yeah, this time of 2022. What happened was I got licensed for home inspections in 2017. And one of the instructors was one of the original HERS raters on Long Island. And in the home inspection class, now home inspections is there's a low ceiling of entry to get into it. So that class is full of kind of people who probably shouldn't be home inspectors, but are going for it anyway. So you should really be talking basic stuff. This dude was, for some reason, I don't know what he was on. He was talking about all this really in-depth building science, engineering stuff. And everyone in the class like looking around like, what is this guy talking about? And I'm sitting there like, it clicked for me. I love that stuff. I love how things work. I love building science is the field. So this was 2017. I heard him talking about it and I was like, I wanted to do that. But after getting licensed in home inspections, I wanted to focus on doing that, making money. I really just wanted to start having my own business. So I didn't have the time or the resources to get into it. But then last year, that same instructor was doing a continued ed for me. I think it was April. And he was talking about it again. And I've talked to him a bunch, in that 7-year time. And I was like, Rich, how do I do this? And he's like, well, lucky for you, they're doing it all online now. You just need to, dedicate a whole month of your life to it. So my wife was home. I have 2 small kids. So she was home with our babies. I had the time, I had the money. I was like, all right, you know what? We're doing it. So last June, went back in the classroom, back to school. And I got that certification. It was a humbling experience because I hadn't been really in a classroom actually paying attention since 2012, 2011. I graduated 2013, but my senior year I was just chilling.
Yeah.
So I hadn't taken a class serious since probably the 11th or 10th grade.
Yeah.
But I loved the topic. So it was all days. It was like 8 to 3 or something in a Zoom classroom, which is tough.
Yeah,
which is
but
definitely tough.
The instructors they're geeks about what we were learning, and like I said, I loved it. So it was just like that whole month was really cool because I was in a classroom and learning. And so got the certification for the HERS ratings. There's a whole process to it, so I had to do some in-field work. So I didn't actually get the final certification until I think December of 22.
Wow.
And then the past few months I've just been, slowly working on, meeting the referral sources, which is really like architects are really big for us. So I've got a few of those jobs under my belt now. I'm starting to build my name a little bit in the industry. And I found that it's a heavy
Sorry, that's the mail.
We got mail.
That was really
Scares us every day.
Yeah. The people who do HERS ratings it's a very technical thing. So that personality type is more the, typical behind the computer engineer type person. I'm calling these builders and architects, and they think I'm selling them like steak knives or something because I'm just like shooting the shit with them. And they're like, wait, you do HERS ratings? I'm like, yeah. They're like the blower door? That's like one of the tools. I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. Like the other guy we use is like, I hate talking to him.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So it's just funny. It's like, having a good personality helps a lot in business.
Sure.
And like most people, as long as you like follow through and complete the project they need you to do, they want to work with people they like.
100%.
Yeah. So I use that in home inspections, but there's so many home inspectors and most of them are like pretty cool guys. That's how we get our business. So I was just one of another pretty chill home inspector in that field. Now I'm going into this new field and there's like I said, there's not that many people who do it anyway. So, and I don't think any of them are 28 years old. Like they're all probably 40, 50 years old. So I have that angle
But
too.
from what I know about it, it's not even like a local thing, right? It doesn't have to be you're not just targeting Long Island. You can do these anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is really what's cool about it is I'm certified nationwide. It's really set up to create a company around. Like in the certification process, they told us how we can, there's I have the full HERS certification, but they have like half certification. So like I could train you to do field work and I can hire you out to do field work. So it's set up to make a company, which is really, really cool. The home inspection industry is really set up to be a one-man shop. So it's restrictive, and people really make really nice companies for home inspections, but there's a ton of obstacles to it. So I don't see those obstacles with the energy rating. So it's cool. It's really like encouraging that I'm moving in that direction, and it's actually like a really good future for me. Like we're making money now, and I can see myself growing, and like all the mistakes and all the obstacles I've had over the past like 5-6 years of doing home inspections, I can either avoid making those same mistakes going forward because I learned from my mistakes, or they just might not be there. So it's really cool. It's like I'm at a cool spot. I don't remember which book it was, but it talks about like explore and exploit. I think it's Atomic Habits maybe. But I feel like I've always been exploring because I kind of saw like home inspections was like a hobby for me, and I really enjoyed doing it, but I didn't want to make it a business. Even when I was trying to, like I was like kind of reluctant to do it.
Well, there's something to it being attached to your face and your name too.
It's
There's
personal.
There's got to be
too.
something psychological about that you don't want to let go of, or you're like, I need to control this because it's representing me.
Yeah.
It comes back to me.
Yeah, and then the other thing, it's like some of these people that are coming to you for a home inspection, it's their first home. And on the outside,
100%.
it's a dream home, right? But your job is to go in there and find all of the problems, right? And how does that translate to someone? I know my sister just bought a house recently, and the first house she got inspected, the guy was like, this has a lot of issues. And she was like, this is my dream home, But now she found another home.
And that was her dream home too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, how do you handle clients in that way? Like from new home buyer, or even someone who's bought 6-7 homes, right? How do you handle them when like, oh, this is everything we want? You have to go in there and, oh, there's an issue with this.
It's all about setting expectations, and I can go into every single house on the block and find 20 to 30 similar defects, right? So that's one of the things I lead off with. Like, listen, we're going to find defects, especially the first-time home buyer market. They're buying either a distressed or pretty, roughly used house. So they do have some expectations of work in there, but I start off right off the bat. Like there's no pass-fail. And I promise you, you're going to read the inspection report and you're going to be like, what the heck am I doing? But then I'll show you my house's inspection report and you're going to laugh because I'm the home inspector living in the house with 30 defects in it that I've known about for 6 years and I ignore, or I just, stay on top of it because that's home ownership. The houses on Long Island are all 60, 70 years old. So we can look at this house today. You can walk away from it from these defects that we find that are probably pretty typical. We can look at another house around the corner tomorrow and we'll probably see 90% of the same things. And maybe one major thing, it isn't the exact same problem, but it's a similar problem. So it's just about setting expectations early on. Right. I'm also like, I talk a lot. I can kind of feel when people are really nervous. Personally, my wife is a very anxious person.
Right.
So I already know how to kind of de-escalate those situations. So I always lead with that. And I just I take it serious like that. And that is one of the reasons why, like what you're saying, Steve, is like, I don't want to let go of the control, is because I get this is so fucking big for you. Like I get like you are losing sleep over this. You are freaking the fuck out about this. Also, too, moving forward, like this is the house you want to raise your kids in. You're looking in that backyard and you're seeing barbecues, good times, bad times. Like that's literally how I look at every one of these houses. And I can't detach myself from that. And I don't want to. I found like that's helped me do a good job for them. It's also helped kind of protect me because there's huge liability in doing a home inspection. I think a lot of people think they're like a lot of home inspectors start and they're like telling you like this house is great. And then when people realize the house isn't great because no house is, they can get sued. You get sued. Yeah, there's a huge amount of liability. So that's kind of insulated me from if I'm a human being. If I maybe didn't drill something hard enough or maybe I missed something, I have not had a callback because the most important thing is I think people could tell that like I pretty much did as much as I could.
You generally give a shit.
I could say I think that if any other inspector inspected a house at the same exact time as I did, they wouldn't find any major issue different than I would. I think that I exhaust all possibilities. I triple check everything. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but a big part of doing what we're doing is just giving a shit. And like that crawl space is really small. And it's every single time. I know I gotta like lug my ass in there, and on the furthest corner is like a defect that needs to be corrected. The house isn't falling down, but it's like a leaking pipe that just needs to be fixed. That if you ignore it, turns into a bigger problem. Mm-hmm. It's always there. It's never right here. It's always in there. So like that's what keeps me, kind of doing it, and the clients see that. So I love that, and it's like I've connected like my personality to it, and it would really, I would be really disappointed if I essentially failed a client and could have prevented a problem for them and didn't. So with that is why it's extremely hard for me to create a business around that, because that's not the job. You know what I mean? Like the job of a home inspector is extremely technical. This is the boiler, it's leaking or it's not. There's no way to teach having compassion and being empathetic for people. And I can't expect somebody to do that. Like they say, expect your employees to give like 60% of the effort. Yeah. Well, the giving a shit's in that 40%. It's in that last 5%. Most people aren't going to care at that level. So I had that realization, and I always think I'll, at least for the foreseeable future, I think I'll do a decent amount of inspections. It'll be like a stable income for me. But being, entrepreneur and wanting to be a business owner, most of my efforts are going into the newer part of the business. Like I don't need to grow my inspections. I have no desire to grow it. I like working. You're
maintaining that business.
Yeah. I want to keep, and also real estate's a very, very funny industry. It's very vain. People make a lot of money quick, and the people who run it kind of think they can tell you what to do. And I'm not that person. I'm not a tough guy, but it's like, I don't care how much money you make. Like I got a call from one guy one time, and he was like, hey, this is, real estate agent from Real Estate Agent Netflix TV show. I don't watch those things. I could care less about them. I don't even follow these people on Instagram. And I was like, oh, cool, man. What's up? And he's like, yeah, like you don't know blah, 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 the name of the show. I was like, oh yeah, sure. And like, I literally hung up on the phone with the guy. Like I turned him off on the phone call because like he needed something today. And I was like, I can't get there till next week. Cause I was like, I don't want to work with that guy.
Yeah.
And that's what you deal with in real estate. And, if I want to grow a business, I have to service that guy. I have to work for him, and I have to kind of be at his beck and call, and I don't want to do that. So I like the people that I work with. I love the word of mouth stuff. I work for a lot of my clients' cousins and sisters and moms, or they sold their house, they're buying a new one. So that's the clientele that I really love to service.
Yeah.
And then like my friends, my family. In Islip, I grew up in Islip, was Mr. Islip Pride. Me and my wife live in the heart of town. So I've inspected like half the houses that go for sale in the neighborhood, so I know all the dirty secrets. I know what's wrong with everybody. I love doing that too. Like I walk past the house, I'm like, there's termites in there.
Well, if I ever buy a house, I'm calling you right away.
Thanks, bro.
Because you sold me. It wasn't. I don't think you were even pitching, but the way you just walked through that entire process, I'm like, this is the guy that I want checking out my family's houses.
I'm a bad liar. Yeah. Like I'm a really, really bad liar, which is like it's served me really well for the life that I live. Like backstory for me. Married my high school sweetheart.
Yeah, really so I was can I jump in here?
Yeah, jump in.
I wanted to go into this side of things because I think it's your situation and your life is unique compared to a lot of entrepreneurs. And I'll say entrepreneurs because there's a lot of people out there who go the same path that you have in life. But I feel like there's a movement in entrepreneurship which is like build, get yourself right, like get all these things perfect in your life and then find the wife and have the kids and build the life that you want. Yeah. But you've gone almost the complete opposite approach.
Yeah. Which probably because it's really, really fucking hard. And there was definitely times like 2017 is when I got my home inspection license. Also the year I got married. So like, and you're not married?
What,
no, girlfriend, you're getting married.
I'm getting married, but
freaking
by
hyped.
the time this episode comes out, maybe.
Yeah, we might be married. Yeah. So I was 20. I was 22 when I got married. 22. So you'll see most
around
wives,
here, like Long Island,
unheard of.
It's very young.
It's so funny too because I hear about people younger than me getting married, and I'm like, that's weird. And then I do the math. I'm like, no, I was weird. That was we were so young. Like I was 20. I was 19 or 20 when I was the same year. I think I was 20 when I moved out and got engaged, like the same day, like the night before me and my now wife moved in together. I proposed to her.
Wow.
My friends were in college. They were juniors or sophomores in college. It's funny to look back on. I have like no regrets. I was able to do that because like I had like crazy clarity about what I wanted to do, not what I wanted to do, but who I wanted to be. And I'm big on that. I think it's crazy that we send kids to college at 18 deciding like, I'm going to be an engineer. Like, I think that's nuts. I think we should focus more on like the type of life you want to end up having. So I had pretty good clarity at a young age that that's what I wanted to do. Like, you know, my wife and I are both the youngest, and we both have siblings who are decently older than us. So we were always around older people who were doing those things, and that's what we wanted. So like every kind of decision I made, not every decision I made was for that one reason, but everything kind of moved me in that direction. And I definitely chose not to do some certain things because that would push me further away from that goal. So the reason that I was able to start my life like that early was that I had pretty good clarity at a young age of who I wanted to be. Like we'd be in high school and everyone's like deciding their jobs and where they're gonna go to college. And, you know, my wife wanted to start a life with me, and she comes from a pretty successful family. So like she was, as long as she just didn't make big mistakes, she'd be fine. She'd have a family, she'd have a, you know, a house, and everything would have been fine. But for me, like, from her perspective, like I was north of the tracks kid, kind of scrappy, you know, my family's very gritty, hardworking, but nothing was guaranteed. So she'd always be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, you know, Mr. Slick was like, I want to be your husband. I want to be your baby daddy. Yeah, I knew, but that's serious. Like she'd laugh like, no, but like what type of job
and
do you want to do?
that was at 15 years old.
Yeah, I would have married her at 15 years old. I'm not kidding, bro. Like I knew exactly what I wanted to do. She was aligned with what I wanted. And so she would ask, like, no, but like what type of job? And I was like, I don't really care about what I'm doing as long as it can provide that for me. Like that life is what I want. So I always had that in the back of my mind, and I knew I wanted it as soon as possible because being the youngest and seeing older people, me and my wife both have this issue where it's like, we want it now. Like we don't want to wait. Like I said, 16, if it was 1890, like we would have been married at 16 years old, like 100%, like we wouldn't have waited. So yeah, I just had pretty good clarity about what I wanted, and life has gone like easier on me. Like I'm very fortunate with my opportunities. I also don't say no to an opportunity. I try to see things out. So going to college, like I didn't plan on going to, you know, Oneonta or anything like my friends did. I just went straight to Suffolk, but within the first 6 weeks, like I wasn't showing up to class. I was going to work instead. So I had an opportunity to get into the Carpenters Union in Manhattan. So at, you know, 18 and a half, 19 years old, I started working full time. And again, life goes super easy on me. I'm super blessed. I got in full buck because the Carpenters Union is a little broken. So I was able to get in with no apprenticeship. So at 19 years old, yeah, it was amazing. I was making man money. Yeah. And it was perfect for me in that situation because I think if you would have gave that same kid, that same 19-year-old Joe, that money with no goal, it would have been a waste of my time because I would have made the money and I would have spent the money. But my mission was to start my life as early as possible. Like the first day I was working, all I could think about was moving in with my girlfriend, proposing to her, buying a house, doing all of that. That was that. And every day I went to work, like that's why I was waking up at 4 a.m. to go to work. So it made like that really shitty job, because it's a horrible, tough job. Made it really easy to do because that's what I wanted to do. And I lived like, it's so funny. I was making really good money, but I would give myself like $40 cash a week to spend. Because we were 19, we weren't going to bars. My friends were at college, we had nothing to do. So like I would eat like, you know, tuna out of a can and PB&Js because like my goal was to save up as much money as possible. So yeah, and at that point, 19, 20 years old, I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do forever. You know, I just didn't know what it would be, but I still, like, my mission was to get married and do all that good stuff. So we bought a house, we got engaged, we bought a house, then we got married. So now it's literally...
So you're 22, you're married,
22, we're married, 2017. It's literally 2 weeks after my wedding. The job I'm working on finishes up. We get laid off at the end of jobs. You take a week or two off, you go work on another job. And I was a lead guy at that time. I was on a path to become a foreman. My foreman would become a general foreman, which is like the head of all the carpenters on the job.
A soup and all that.
Yeah, right? It would have been right now I would have at least been a general foreman or a super, absolutely chilling, having, you know, a good career in the Carpenters Union where I could leave at 38 years old. So I would have done my 20 years and had my pension and all that stuff. So, but I knew I didn't want to do that. I knew it was just capital for me. I knew I needed money to start my life. So at that point, before I was married, but like in the middle of it, my thought process was like, at 30 years old, I want a house with a rental in it. I want to be married and I want to have a kid. Like if I could do that, then I'm going to be good. So I don't know what exactly it was, but going towards getting married that last year, things just kind of happened where like my mind changed. Oh, my wife kind of pressured me too. She didn't like me working in the city. I didn't like me working in the city. So she kept talking about like, what will you do when you leave? Like at 30, what are you going to do? So I started taking like civil service tests and stuff. So that was a really good moment for me because I actually got 100 on one of the tests and I was going through the investigation process and I was like, okay, yeah, here we go. It's an means to an end. I'll become a cop and that'll provide the life I want for my family. And that was the first time that I realized like you do have to kind of like what you're doing. Yeah. And I just don't fit that personality. I wouldn't be good at it. So in the middle of that process, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. And that was a big moment because now my wife's like, well, then what are you going to do? You're just going to be a carpenter the rest of your life. So I started looking at different ways to do it. And one of the things I realized was like, I need to make supplemental income. I can't just leave this really, really good job. At that point, I'm married. I'm going to be married and I have this house. I have expenses. So that's where the home inspection license came up it was just going to be to supplement my income while part-time. I do something else, right? So now we get married. 2 weeks later, I get laid off. I'm at home. It's like the end of the summer. My wife's going back to work in a couple weeks. It's like a great time. Like being laid off in the summer is so cool because you have a week or two off and then you're going back to work. So there's like no stress to it. And literally the home inspection license comes in the mail and like I open it up and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, I ain't going back to work. And my wife's like, fuck you just say?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't going back. Like,
so you jumped full in?
I jumped full in from leaving the union, but I also was 22 trying to start a business with no fucking clue how to do that.
Right.
And no contacts.
Nothing. And didn't understand I needed to market and network and to go I thought I was just going to start. There was a moment where I was like, I'm going to get my license. Because I know a lot of real estate people. So I'm going to start inspecting the first day. I didn't do an inspection for 4 months. I'm also not a slacker, so I started working construction on Long Island with my buddies. Okay. Yeah, so that's what was the bridge between kind of where I'm at now and leaving the union, which was a really, really important thing because a big struggle I think people have when they're starting their businesses, they're stuck in that 9-to-5 W-2 employee mindset. Right. I was pretty much like a foreman for my friend's heavy construction company, who all he ever did was own his own company. At 18, he started seal coating driveways, and now he's got this huge paving company. So like I had the polar opposite perspective versus the carpenters union, which was so important for me. I did 2 years with him, and I learned like when you work in the carpenters union, at 3:20, if we weren't working overtime, your tools came off and you didn't think about work until 7 o'clock the next morning, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. I'm envious of that now because it's a beautiful thing. I can't stop thinking about it. So now I go and work with my buddy who his name's on the side of the truck. He never, ever stopped thinking about it. And it blew my mind. He'd be like, yo, you want to work Saturday? And I'd be like, oh, seriously, dude? He's like, we got shit to do. Come on, it'll be an easy day. And obviously I'd take it because I needed the money, but it always blew my mind. I was like, this guy never stops. And people always talk, because he's a successful guy. He's one of my great friends. He's a mentor to me without even knowing it. Everyone's like, he works so hard. And like, he definitely gets after. He works hard, but it's not the hard work that made him successful. I coined this term for him because it's the only way to explain it. He has obnoxious persistence. He just never, ever, ever stops. It's like you want to take a break and he's just puttering along. He's been doing it like 15 years. He's been just chopping away at it every single fucking day. At 10 o'clock at night, he's in bed looking at equipment to buy. 6 o'clock in the morning, he's answering text messages every single fucking day. And that was a big realization for me about like how to shift that mindset for owning a business is like, this is it.
The toughest part is like doing the same boring shit every single day. That's so difficult to do. I still struggle with it. Yeah. It's like it's so monotonous and like it becomes the same thing. You have to make it fun. You have to make it a game in order to continue to do that same boring shit every single day. I think that's a huge roadblock for people when they get into businesses, because like I'm reading the E-Myth and it's so cool because it's like I'm reading that E-Myth book. It's the entrepreneurial myth, and everything it talks about, like I'm either going through it or I went through it. And I'm just like shaking my head the whole time. Like I could have read this 5 years ago, but I think people get into business because it's so exciting. It's sexy. It's cool. It's fun. I get to post about it. And then they got to do the stupid stuff they don't want to do every single day. And it's not fun anymore. They're not making the money they thought off the bat, and they quit on it way too soon. So like a big thing I have when I'm talking to people about doing something is like commit to it for a period of time. And that was the reason that I'm here right now, is because like there was nothing that could happen that would stop me from trying to get the business going. Like I started off slow. My second year was slow.
I was working multiple jobs. I was doing plowing at night. I was doing, heavy construction during the day, trying to schedule while like asphalting a driveway.
So was it difficult? Did you hinder yourself by doing too much?
Well, I think that if I like to think in that moment when I was working all those jobs that if I just stop and focus completely on the business, then everything would be fine. And looking back on it, like, no, it wouldn't have, because when I jumped out of working construction and I had way more free time, I still didn't know what I was doing. The reason I didn't have as much business coming in as I wanted to wasn't because of the other jobs. It's because I didn't know how to optimize the minutes that I had. You don't need that much time, especially with home inspections. Like, you don't need that much time to create a cute little book of business. It's not that difficult. It's just you have to know where to put your efforts. And when I started a business, I was putting my efforts into everything every new business owner does, right? My website was meant, I'm not wearing the shirt now, but it's like I had my logo on everything. And I'm sitting there like, why is nobody calling me? Like, don't you see? Like, I got this dope logo. I got a shirt. Like, why are they not calling me? So I was focusing on all the wrong stuff. So everything to me, I think, you could always do stuff better. I'm a big criticizer of, look back. How can we take one step out of the process?
Hindsight Henry.
Yeah, exactly. Construction is big on that. And that's, every job I've had, even working, for a tent company in high school, there was something I learned from that experience that I can apply to, in a day-to-day. And with construction there's always a half a step you can take out of your process to make it a little quicker. And if you focus on taking 1 second out of your process every single day, before you know it, like, what your day-to-day stuff becomes lightning quick, right? So I definitely, when I was working multiple jobs, was focused more on, like, I need to get out so I can just focus completely on the business, where, like, if I could go back and give myself advice, it'd be like, no, like, look at the time you are spending on the business, use that time more effectively, but that obviously,
No, that's a unique thing, because most people say, and I'm in this camp as well, which is, my business didn't take off until I stopped doing freelance work, until I stopped taking the odd jobs that were thrown my way. For like an extra, $500-600 on a Saturday, I would go do something.
Yeah.
That the second that I stopped doing that and I committed to, okay, I have enough income from this business to just put my full energy into it, it started to grow immediately.
Yeah. So I had that, like, when June of 21, my daughter was born. That was the last time I worked for somebody else. Like, the day my daughter was born, I left the night gig that I was doing and I went full in on inspections. And at that moment, things did increase. But it wasn't because I wasn't working the other job. It's because that now I was like, now I have to make this work. And I started doing something I never did before, which is so stupid why I didn't do. I never networked before. I never did. Like, Rise was the first thing I did to network with Jack and all them. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I met the Long Island networkers, was through Rise. I never did that stuff. So it's summer of 21, like, I had the time to do it. I started networking. I got my name out there. Like, more people knew who I was.
And an opportunity comes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Part of the reason we do this is, like, I think, Steve, there's so many amazing people on this island that we just either bring in here, let them tell their story, and now all of a sudden, working with other people, they've connected me to new people just from our last podcast session we did.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy how it works. Like
I just love having these types of conversations with business owners or people who are building and trying to do something.
Absolutely.
It's so, like, I get a lot out of just having this conversation.
And
with
we
you
love
and
shooting
learning
the shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I hit him up like 2 weeks ago. I was like, yo, you free? Let's go grab coffee. And we're having this conversation. I think he's got a really cool story. I love what he's doing. We do a mastermind together, and we were all convinced he was doing this for like 10 years, like MMP strictly. And he's like, no, we just did our first year of business. And we're like, oh, damn, okay, we got to step it up.
I mean, we're talking serious attention. It basically started last summer, like almost a year from now.
Yeah, like going like the balls to the wall. Yeah. Because the mastermind we're in, it's all about like really killing it. So he seemed like so seasoned in it. And so I was like, all right, and we're also like very similar, young Long Island people. Yeah. I figured we'd click. So we had coffee. We're sitting down shooting the shit. I think we went on like an hour and a half. And towards the end, he was like, was there something you wanted to like, why'd you call me up? Like, was there something you want to talk about? And I was like, nah, bro, I just wanted to shoot the shit with you.
Yeah. Hang out.
Yeah. I think everybody,
I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I think everybody loves like the chance to kind of get to know each other on a more personal level, and so having this platform definitely is awesome to do it.
Yeah.
But that's something I never did before I quit and went full time. So yeah, of course, having
is that
more
something that you do a lot of now. Is it something that you have
it's
to
commitment of mine.
Yeah, you have to commit to. Okay, I'm going to take 2 or 3 meetings a week. Is there something that you do?
I don't have it metrics wise, but if I have a slow day, I will make it a point to either catch up with somebody, reach out to somebody new, follow up on a phone call. You have to keep talking about it. you know, if you want to stay moving forward, you have to be bringing it up to more people. And I have like the bullshitter gift where I can literally like.
Gift to gab.
I feel like I've known you for at least 6 months.
I
know.
know.
We met in the hallway. I was trying to go to the bathroom. You know, like I have, it's in school. I remember getting the progress reports and always said socializes disturbs learning. Well, look at me now. You know, socializing,
make him,
make him brags, bitch.
Yeah, you were always the kid that can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, I'm full shit. No, see, that's the thing though. Is
you're a schmoozer.
I'm a schmoozer. I'm not a salesperson.
No.
So like you said, you said before, it doesn't feel like I'm pitching you because I don't know. I don't know how to do it. My brother-in-law, his brother is
so that's
sick. We'll get into that. He's a sick salesperson.
We only have a few more minutes. So when we get there.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, we had a delayed start.
Okay. So he's a big salesperson. So he says it's like, dude, you got to go into sales because he said how it's amazing to be able to like I can walk into a bar and just talk to anybody in there. Yeah. You know. So
I don't have that.
Me and you going into a bar, we wouldn't talk to each other. We'd meet at the end of the night, be like, "Who'd you talk to?" Like, to be like, I'd be talking to the brick wall in the corner. My friends would be like, "Dude, who the hell is that?" I was like, "I don't know."
Funny, dude.
My buddy Nick is like that.
Yeah,
we'll go anywhere, and I'll be like, I'm the guy who plants at the table. And I'm just like, I love to just have conversations with my friends.
He's a bar real estate guy.
Yeah.
We're like the bouncer on the bar.
Yeah, and then Nick is just like, I met this girl, I met this guy, did you know that he does this? And I was like, no, I've been sitting here the whole time.
It's crazy. Well, I had to bring on another guy. Like most of my inspections I do with my partner Chris because I'll end up talking to the homeowner about their dog that died 35 years ago. It's fucking crazy, but it's like I like doing that. So it's like while I'm doing that, he's checking the outlets and the dumb shit, and then I go and I do the really good shit. So
So tell us a little bit about this because this is you're a community guy. You're very involved.
Big community
in
guy. Yeah, big islip guy, Mr. Islip Pride. So February of last year, one of our buddies, Jesse Gearhard, he passed away. He was an FDNY firefighter. He fought a fire the day before. And then the next day he's in the firehouse and sitting here just like me and you, 11 o'clock at night. His heart just stopped.
Jeez.
Yeah, so fucking traumatic. His big brother is my brother-in-law and one of my best friends. He was a good friend of mine. The town of Islip is pretty tight. He's a volunteer firefighter for Islip Fire Department while also being in FDNY, while also being just like a transplant townie for Long Beach. So he had these really big circles. It was super traumatic. He got a line of duty funeral, so like we had the service go down Main Street. We had Apache helicopters, dude, like 1,000 service members, military, fire, police, like all these people show up, like lines down the block in the pouring rain for his wake. It was so surreal. And he was just like a super chill, quiet dude, but he impacted so many people that there was just this, everybody was destroyed by it and like very depressed and had a ton of negative energy, like we're all sad, but it's still energy. So we felt like there was this huge community of people that like were hurting and we needed to get together. And his older brother was absolutely destroyed. Like his little brother was gone and they were super close. So this time last year, the idea came up to do a golf outing. We're like, too many people are hurting. My brother-in-law, he was just so angry. He was like, I need to do something. I need to focus on doing something or I'm going to just like crash into a tree. Like, he was depressed. Yeah. So in like 3 months' time, he put together this absurd, crazy golf outing. We raised a ton of money. We had 2 tee times, a cornhole tournament. It was absolutely nuts. And with that, we formed the Jesse Gearhard charity. So this year we have 2 events going on. We have a poker tournament / parking lot party, which is going on June 17th at AMVETS in East Islip. And I say the parking lot party because we have so many people who come to these things that just want to chill and hang out. So what we're doing is we have the poker tournament inside, and at the same exact time, you can buy like a general admissions ticket, and you can just chill in the parking lot. We're going to have DJ set up. We have whiskey, tequila tasting. We have a beer garden showing. We have tons of food. We have cornhole, can jam. A guy's rolling cigars there. Who knows what'll end up happening because it's just like a super chill time because the first golf outing, everyone was golfing, but then when they were done, we were all just hanging out. We had the cornhole tournament and like this crazy just good time. Like it was, I don't even know how to explain it, like a backyard barbecue, but for like 500 people at a golf course. So that's kind of the same vibe we're bringing to the poker tournament. Nice. So yeah, and we use the money to support like other line of duty deaths and their families and local ISIP families who are just, one family had their house burnt down. We donated money to them. Another ISIP firefighter passed away. So we donated money to their cause and just giving back to the other charities that are doing really good things locally because we're a tight-knit community. So we want to help out our community. So
if somebody wanted to find more details on this, where can they find it? Where can they find more details on you as well?
Yeah. So for me, I'm Sturdy Joe on Instagram. So you can check me out. I'm not super active, but I try to. Maybe I'll put more effort into that.
You get a bunch of clips out of this.
Yeah. we'll get some clips out of this. But for the Jesse Gearhard Memorial charity, I believe it's the Jesse Gearhard Memorial on Instagram. And Casey, my brother-in-law, he's always posting about it, so you can find all the information there. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. We're always posting stuff about it. It's a super fun time, and we want everybody to feel like they can just come and hang out. It's not closed off to anybody. So like even the golf outing is closed off to people who aren't sponsoring because we're already full. You could still come and do the cornhole tournament. You can get a general admission ticket to just come and hang out. I think it's a great networking opportunity too, because we have like the golf outing, we had like 100 sponsors. Mm-hmm. So there's 100 business people, 100 regular people too who might not know that you sell mortgages or something. Right. So there's like a networking opportunity there too. It's also just super fun time. So definitely want people to, come, show up, have a good time. If you want to get your business out there, tons of people, come to our events. So reach out for a sponsorship.
Are there any specific relationships you're looking for?
It could be anything. We have body shops. We have a IV drip company that comes. Yeah, we have the IV set up at the golf outing because we knew we'd be boozing all day. So yeah, we do. I actually even like one of the other home inspectors is sponsoring the cornhole tournament. Like there's any like company that just wants to help a good cause, have a really good time, and also get your name out there. Mm-hmm. It's a great opportunity to do it. So
this has been unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll be there for the
more time. I was like,
I think you should cancel the next guy and we'll just keep going. I didn't even get past 22 years old, bro. I got 6 more years to go. So, thank you guys so much. Next one's going to be at the batting cage.
That's right.
Yeah, next one's at Batter Up. We can't do Top Golf because I'll jump off of the thing. We decided that. So we'll. But thank you guys. Thank you so much. This is
thanks for coming on.
Thank you. So
that's it.
Wrap it.